She provided him with her youth, her devotion, every bit of her love, and in return, she was the forgotten piece in his puzzle. These, however, were not the words Christine Brown ever screamed at Kody Brown in rage. No, these were the quiet realities that she deeply entrenched within herself for more than 2 decades. Before one day, she just couldn't anymore. Well, before the world saw Christine walk out on the Brown family, the storm was brewing. On Sister Wives, viewers witnessed her laugh in pain, smile in heartbreak, and pretend that all was right. On the outside, it seemed like a kooky but cohesive family, 4 wives, 1 husband, and a shared faith banding them together. Behind closed doors, though, it was less harmony, more disintegration, an implosion in slow motion. Christine was the sunshine of the family, the light one, the glue. She cooked, comforted, welcomed, but even the strongest woman starts to crack when the man she once referred to as her eternal companion suddenly stops seeing her altogether. It did not happen overnight. Heartbreak never does. Gradually, Kody ceased to appear for her. He ceased sitting next to her at events. He ceased soliciting her views when it counted. He spent increasing numbers of nights elsewhere, most often with Robyn, and when COVID occurred, that distance did not just increase, it became incontestable. Kody's stern quarantine regulations isolated him from most of his children, particularly those in Christine's household. As Christine and her children were under isolation, Kody utilized it as an excuse to bond more with Robyn. Something that was initially transitory favoritism now proved to be the new reality. Christine wasn't looking for perfection. She was looking for effort, but effort was something Kody had ceased to provide years earlier. Their conversations grew superficial. Compliments were lost, cuddles were gone, and then there came words no wife should ever hear. In a quiet admission, Christine disclosed that Kody informed her that he no longer desired an intimate marriage with her. That was the death of their relationship from silence. Picture it: you sacrifice yourself to someone, take his children, keep together a household of over 20, guard his reputation, and he gazes at you and tells you he no longer wants you. For Christine, that was betrayal in its nastiest form. She remained for her children, for television, for hope. Hope that perhaps Kody would awaken and see what he was losing. But hope has boundaries, and the breaking point was when Kody talked down her dream of going back to Utah, her life's desire, a means of being close to her adult children and grandchildren. He waved it away as if it meant nothing, as if she meant nothing. And then the notorious blow-up at Coyote Pass. Land property boundaries, regulations as to where she could construct. Kody addressed her as a business partner, not a spouse, and Christine, she replied with silence, the kind of silence that speaks volumes and says it is finished. She didn't slam doors. She didn't scream. She just began to pack quietly, softly, because sometimes the loudest choices are heard in silence. Piece by piece, she collected her life, the things of her children, her broken dreams. And when the camera started rolling, Christine faced Kody straight and said the words that shattered the internet. "I don't want to be married to you anymore." For years, Kody had underestimated her. He believed she'd never leave. But at that moment, Christine wasn't just walking away. She was rising, and women everywhere sensed it. Twitter blew up. Reddit ignited. TikTok was filled with tears, cheers, applause. Christine wasn't just a reality television personality anymore. She became a symbol, a folk hero. Not because she was perfect, but because she was authentic. She didn't pursue drama, she pursued peace. And in the coming months, Christine didn't waste breath tearing Kody down. She talked about herself, about sleeping better. Laughter increased about how her children commented that she was lighter, freer, happier, about love, not romantic love, but self-love. I knew I deserved better. Not just better from a man, but better from life. Those words hit millions of women like thunder. Christine departed from Flagstaff, left behind the tears, the jealousy, the broken promises, the long waits for a turn never taken. She shut a door on a house. Indeed, but more than that, on a life that sucked the spirit out of her. She did not torch the house to get out. She didn't have to. Christine exited and let the fire behind her illuminate the way ahead. Because moving on is not acting like nothing ever occurred. It is loving yourself harder than you ever loved yourself before. And that is just what Christine Brown did. Most people expected her to quietly disappear into the background of the Sister Wives universe. But Christine walked into the light instead, not with chaos, but with clarity, not with noise, but with light. And soon everybody could see it. She was not healing. She was radiating. For so long, Christine's sense of self had hung on the approval of Kody. Freedom came at the cost of getting to know herself again without him, and she did. In Meri, Utah, where memories of childhood rested, where roots ran deep with family, Christine finally discovered something she hadn't known in decades. Peace. This had nothing to do with geography. This had everything to do with energy. Everything in Flagstaff was shared land, husband drama. Everything in Utah was hers. Her own house, her own room, her own narrative, her initial bold action. She purchased a stunning house and claimed it as her own. No plural family calendars, no waiting her turn, no longer being an afterthought. Just Christine, her kids, and a brand new life stretching wide and open before her. Before long, her Instagram told the story. The smile was familiar, but the eyes, those were different. They were no longer searching. They were rooted in self-worth. Pictures of family hikes, family dinners, interview selfies, each image exuded something more powerful than style. It exuded freedom. She dressed for herself alone. She laughed more genuinely. She danced with abandon. Readers didn't simply like her pictures. They rejoiced at her. She was a moving toast to every woman ever told she was second, third, or fourth, and her makeover wasn't psychological. It was physical. Christine began to open up about her health journey, better diet, more exercise, yoga, not for vengeance, not for television, for the uncomplicated, strong reason of feeling strong again, on her own, for her children, for her own future. She wasn't pursuing a revenge body. She was losing the pounds of years of emotional weight. Her spine straightened. Her complexion glowed. Her tone held confidence rather than uncertainty. You could observe it in each interview. Christine wasn't staying alive anymore. She was thriving. And while Kody grew defensive and bitter on Sister Wives, Christine became the star of her own story. Producers saw it, viewers saw it. The show began to shift. Not toward Kody's excuses or Robyn's tears, but toward Christine's strength. The cameras filmed her movement, her reunions with her children, her pleasure in little moments. And in one scene we will never forget, Christine gazed directly into the camera and said, "I finally feel like I can breathe, like I am not walking on eggshells anymore." That line struck deeper than any household brawl, because that is what the audience craved, not drama, truth, and Christine delivered. In another electrifying moment, she validated what everybody suspected. I wasn't treated equally, and I realized I was never going to be. It wasn't a confession, it was a revolution. Christine rolled back the curtain on a system that had always privileged one wife. She wasn't only departing Kody, she was revealing the disequilibrium. And in doing that, she turned the whole story on its head. Robyn wasn't the one chosen anymore. She was the final one standing. Kody wasn't the patriarch. He was merely a solitary man. And Christine, she wasn't a victim. She was the victor. The internet erupted with applause. Side before and after Kody pictures flooded Reddit. TikTok influencers congratulated her. Instagram hashtags such as #ChristineWins and #GlowUpQueen filled timelines. Christine was no longer just a reality television star. She was now a symbol of self-worth taken back from the world. As one viewer put it, she didn't just leave a man, she reclaimed her light. But most radiant glow of all might not have been Christine's new home, or her newfound confidence, or even her newfound fame. It was the way that her happiness overflowed to her kids. She was a good mom, she had always been, but now she had room to be the mom she desired to be. Her daughter Isabel, once abandoned in tears after Kody stood her up for her spinal surgery, now had a mother completely there, completely happy. Christine and her children laughed more, cooked more, adventured more. They weren't just recovering, they were flourishing. And for Christine, that was the ultimate triumph of all. Christine decided on happiness each and every day. She reminded the world that just because it was a spiritual union did not mean she owed Kody her life. I feel like I am finally becoming who I was always meant to be. Each word was a viral flame. She was no longer the woman people felt sorry for. She was the woman people cheered for. Christine had played the comic relief, the side wife, the underdog for years. But no longer, she didn't have to beg for pity. She was the show, and not because of who she was married to, but because of who she had become since she walked away. This wasn't revenge, it was resurrection. And then came David Woolley. Christine summed it up herself. After years of being someone's option, I finally became someone's only. Her trajectory changed overnight. Healing became flourishing, and fans observed with wonder as Christine embarked on a new era that bore no resemblance to the previous one. It started slowly. One photograph Christine, snuggled in a flannel, radiant next to a tall, bearded stranger with warm eyes and a soft smile. No ostentatious caption, no bombast. Just 7 words, I finally found the love of my life. In the scandal-ridden world of sister wives, where gossip and secrets fell every week, that sweet, sincere utterance fell like thunder. Who was he? Where did he hail from? Could it be true? For Christine's fans, the answers hardly mattered. This wasn't love, it was vindication. Having spent decades being emotionally neglected and playing second fiddle in a plural marriage, Christine had discovered that for which every wounded woman prays, a second chance. David Woolley was no television figure. He wasn't seeking fame or attention. He was an executive at a Utah construction firm, a widower, a father, a man grounded in loyalty, presence, and unobtrusive strength. In all aspects, the antithesis of Kody Brown. No juggling of multiple wives, no cameras, no endless excuses, just presence, just love. For Christine, who had become invisible to so many for so long, that presence was everything. Their love didn't unfold in confessionals or tabloid soap operas. It happened in real life. Walks together, meals together, movie nights with their children, no cameras, no script, no stress, just 2 people rediscovering love. And David? He arrived, he called, he texted, he checked in, he listened. Christine once penned in an Instagram Q&A, he sees me, not the reality star, not the ex-wife, just me. That sentence melted hearts everywhere, because being seen was all she ever wanted, and now she didn't have to ask for it. When Christine and David made public their relationship, fans went wild. Side by side comparisons overflowed social media. Kody, defensive, messy, inaccessible. David, peaceful, level-headed, stable. One of the going viral TikToks reported, Christine left a man with 3 wives for a man who treats her like she is 3 queens in one. Another headline declared, From spiritual wife to soulmate, Christine is winning. And the glow on Christine's face said it all. Her smile wasn't practiced anymore. Her eyes weren't searching. This was genuine happiness. One moment captured David's love perfectly. Christine's birthday. He decorated the home, bought personalized gifts, created a day entirely around making her feel seen and cherished. Christine posted, "I've never been treated like this in my entire life. Imagine that." I imagine that more than 25 years of spiritual marriage, the mothering of 6 children, the upkeep of a household of 4 wives and 18 kids, Christine was finally getting her first taste of actual romance. Not in diamonds or extravagance, but in the little things, the predictability, the purposefulness, the love that demanded nothing back. David had his own kids. Christine had her 6. But unlike the strict life she'd escaped, this new family wasn't imposed, only tenderly constructed, with patience, with room, with love. And for Christine, it was all she was waiting for. David never attempted to replace anything, her family's rhythm, her independence, her identity. He merely filled the vacant areas where neglect previously resided with love, and that was the difference. In a special on TLC, Christine told how much it felt different to be in an equal, loyal, and monogamous relationship. With Kody, I was always fighting for my space in his heart. With David, I never have to wonder. And with those words, Christine tore up every outdated rule she ever lived by. No more alternating nights. No more favorite wife games. No more begging for affection and being written off as jealous or emotional. With David, her feelings were respected, her happiness nurtured, her spirit valued. So when David proposed, it wasn't part of a scripted storyline. There were no cameras orchestrating the moment. It was simple, intimate, real. And when Christine said yes, the internet nearly exploded. Comments poured in. "This is the wedding we've been waiting for." Christine deserves the world, and now she finally has it. David saw her worth immediately, where someone else had overlooked it for 25 years. Meanwhile, on Sister Wives, Kody's breakdown unfolded. He ranted. He accused. He charged Christine with ruining the family, charged her with manipulation, said she had sabotaged everything. But fans weren't believing it. Not anymore. They'd seen enough. Kody had 4 wives and lost 3. Christine gained 1 man and found peace. Even Kody's children turned against him, with some of them taking Christine's side, as she remained firmly established in her new life, her new love, and her new sense of freedom. Her engagement video got over 1 million views in hours. TLC hinted at the potential for a spin-off. Reddit was abuzz with a call for a Christine and David show, because this was more than love. This was justice. Christine had walked through flames and out the other side, hand in hand with a man who chose her wholeheartedly. She had not been rescued. She had rescued herself. David just walked with her, holding space, holding her heart, and then the words that erased every doubt, said underneath a white arch in Moab, Utah, "This time, it is my forever." Her voice firm, her eyes shining, her heart finally at peace. On a chilly October afternoon in 2023, Christine posted just one photo that caused shockwaves throughout the Sister Wives community. Red rock canyons of Moab, bookending a wedding ceremony. Christine glowing in white, David beaming, like the luckiest man on earth. The caption was, "I finally found my happily ever after." In minutes, Instagram lost its mind, Twitter trended, TikTok overflowed with reaction videos, entertainment media everywhere, from People to E, News to Et, ran wild trying to cover it. This was not merely a wedding, it was the culmination of a decade's worth of heartbreak drama, and Christine's fans weren't merely thrilled for her, they were vindicated. This was not polygamy's cold ceremony, this was romance, This was intimacy, this was hers. The wedding was set against the walls of Moab, the same terrain where Christine used to shoot her most humiliating confessions, now her refuge of atonement. She floated down the aisle in a custom white gown, plain, simple, contemporary, a gown that wasn't made of just cloth. It was a declaration. She was no longer confessing. She was the one, the soul. David waited, standing there in plain gray attire, gaze fixed on her, steadfast, unshaken. No other wives, no shared attention, no conflicting loyalties. Only him, and only her. The wedding was presided over by a good friend, only relatives, and those she loved with her. No producers, no team. Only love. And perhaps the loveliest moment wasn't Christine in white or David's radiant smile, was her children. All 6 of them present, Isabel, Michael T., Aspen, Truly, Peden, and Gwendolyn. Their faces told it all: happiness, relief, pride. They weren't just present at their mother's wedding, they were celebrating her rebirth. Christine's children were there beside her, not as wedding guests, but as witnesses to their mother's resurrection. There was a picture of it, perfectly captured: Christine and her girls, barefoot, twirling and laughing on the lawn, canyon winds whipping their hair about like ribbons of liberty. Another, David kneeling painstakingly to adjust little Truly's necklace, steady and quiet, not for photographers, not for display, but because that is what a father figure does. This was the wedding they had never witnessed with Kody, the love their mother had never experienced in a shared household, and now, they were front row to her redemption. Fans weren't just commenting on social media, they were celebrating. She finally got the wedding she deserved. No cameras, no Kody, no jealousy, just love. Christine's wedding feels like closure for every woman who stayed too long. That wasn't a wedding, that was a declaration of self-worth. She didn't require a prince, she required a partner. One viral tweet cut to the chase. All these years later, Christine just dropped the most heartbreaking plot twist in reality television history. And although the wedding itself was small, TLC knew the world needed more. In November 2023, they broadcast a Christine Brown wedding special, a film tour charting her journey from broken hearted to mending to happily ever after. It wasn't all about gowns and vows. It was Christine taking back her life. On her terms, there were sweet moments of David penning his vows, her daughters sharing about their mom's happiness, behind-the-scenes shots of her stepping into her dress. For the first time, the beauty wasn't the spectacle. The beauty was the symbolism. Christine wasn't merely proceeding down the aisle. She was proceeding away from decades of anguish, away from an establishment that smothered her, and toward the light. While Christine danced to love songs and toasted to freedom, Flagstaff remained quiet. Kody, tied to Robyn and estranged from Meri and Janelle, remained mum. His silence was louder than words. Sources said he didn't show up. He didn't even phone, and Robyn, apparently shocked Christine bounced back so quickly, but no one was believing it. Forums filled with statements like, "Robyn was the favorite wife. Now she is the only one standing in the wreckage." Christine glowed up and moved on. Kody stayed and burned out. Christine's vows became viral. She delivered them graciously, each word falling like a lifetime of freedom. "For so long, I thought I had to struggle for someone to love me. Today, I don't struggle. I just say yes, to peace, to joy, and to a man who makes me feel like I am the only one." And then David's promise, the line that broke hearts all over. "You were never too much. You were just never loved enough. I am here to change that." With those words, David did something Kody never did, acknowledged her pain and promised not only love, but presence. Christine's wedding was not about trading one man for another. It was about marrying herself to the life she always had deserved. No more waiting her turn. No more silent tears behind a camera. Ready smile. No more unseen sacrifices. This was reclamation. She took back her name, her joy, her future. She became the hero of her own life, and the world took notice. Red carpets, fashion blogs, feminist columns, reality television talk shows all amplified the same reality. Christine didn't just leave Kody, she triumphed over the very system that diminished her. And the strongest part, she did it without revenge, without anger, without drama. She walked away. She had peace. She had love. And she celebrated it unapologetically. Her wedding was not merely a start. It was an end. A final chapter signed and dated with a kiss of freedom. Christine walked away with peace. Kody remained behind with pride. That is their story in a line. Because while Christine emerged from the ruins of a broken plural marriage to establish a happy life full of love, joy, and meaning, Kody was stuck, angry, never able to understand the scope of what he'd lost. This is not a love story, it is role reversal. Total power inversion between the woman once dismissed and the man who believed he was in charge. In the world of sister wives, Kody Brown was the center. 4 wives, 18 kids, a reality television dynasty, a guy watched like royalty in modern times. And Christine? She was the third wife, the fun one, the peacemaker, the never waver. But Kody never suspected what was lurking. He never thought she'd be the first to go. And not just go, but go for better. When Christine walked away, Kody did not pursue her, he accused. He belittled. He called her selfish, unfaithful, fame crazy. He defined her freedom as a betrayal. But beneath all his resentment was the truth he could not acknowledge, regret, because Christine's departure wasn't just her going away. It was her revelation. She pulled back the veil on years of favoritism, neglect, and abandonment. And when she was gone, Kody's tightly managed kingdom started to fall apart. The dominoes were on the verge of falling, and following first was Janelle. Janelle had become exhausted of being treated like a business partner rather than a wife. She candidly discussed Kody's controlling nature, lack of intimacy, and how everything revolved around Robyn. As she put it, fans heard vindication of what they'd suspected for years. Kody no longer had an interest in plural marriage. He desired only Robyn. And then the shockwave arrived. Meri, Kody's very first wife after 3 decades of attempting, in early 2023 declared that she and Kody were finished officially. Suddenly, the man who had 4 wives at one point in his life was reduced to 1. And even that favorite marriage wasn't seeming quite as fairy tale, like as it had been sold to be. For years, Robyn was positioned as Kody's soulmate, the legal wife, the protected one, the woman he defended when the others asked for equality. But once the other wives were gone, the picture shifted. Alone with Kody, Robyn didn't look like a victor. She looked trapped. The exhaustion showed in her interviews. Kody himself appeared restless, irritable, almost nostalgic for a world where his authority went unquestioned. For now, with 3 other wives to take the fall, Kody's shortcomings were laid bare, and Robyn, she was left to bear all of his emotional baggage. Meanwhile, Christine was radiant. Having married David Woolley in October 2023, she lived her new life in its entirety: wife, partner, survivor. She posted pictures of weekend excursions, Sunday evenings, with children seated at the table, unbridled beach days, with her hair loose and unpinned. No filters, no posed smiles, just happiness. Her own path started to inspire others. She talked in interviews, on the internet, and even during TLC specials, telling women not to accept conditional love. "You deserve to be someone's only," she said to them, and people did listen. While Christine was thriving, Kody fell apart during the 2024 reunion special. His rage was evident. He lashed out, accusing Christine of having destroyed the family, accusing social media for shaping her, accusing her new husband for rushing into it too quickly. But above the anger, the cameras observed something he couldn't conceal: loneliness. This was not the brash, self-assured Kody fans once knew. This was a man gutted by loss, unable to grieve what he'd previously taken for granted, and the internet did not treat him kindly. Reddit branded him manipulative and emotionally unavailable. TikTok split screened Christine's giggles against his rants with headlines like, "This is what you lose when you think she'll never leave." Viewers were in agreement. Interviews, polls, fan forums, the decision was the same. Christine had triumphed. She had evaded the burden of a draining system and discovered true love. She had become an icon to all women. Kody's legacy, no longer one of family harmony, but of ego, remorse, and collapse. And Christine, she didn't quit. She created a brand, cross-promotional partnerships with lifestyle and fashion brands, a memoir on regaining self-worth, a YouTube cooking show with David, Cooking with Christine and Dee, where recipes were served up with humor, tales, and raw honesty. People watched not for a recipe, but to see a woman who had regained her joy. One of the many viral comments boiled it down: Kody Brown went from background character to franchise queen. The contrast between Christine and Kody ultimately wasn't who they stood next to. It was who they became. Christine confronted her hurt. She evolved it. Kody pushed away from it. He blamed. He broke. Christine built a home. Kody lost his, and throughout, she never gloated, never mocked. She merely lived better, and that, more than any words, was the sweetest revenge. If this epic were a courtroom drama, public opinion would be unanimous. Kody Brown, guilty of neglect, ego, and favoritism. Christine Brown, innocent, empowered, and free. David Woolley, hero, healer, partner. Ultimately, Kody might have retained the property, but Christine retained her integrity. And that is what made her the real victor of sister wives.